So really the whole thing is about hustling every single day and trying to be creative in solving problems, right? Okay, this is Mike Sygula from TrueTheory.com. Welcome to another vlog, and today we're gonna talk about entrepreneurship. And I want to give you some ideas, tips, tools, and share with you a couple of different lessons and realizations from my journey as an entrepreneur over the last 11 years. So for those of you who don't know, I'm the founder of TrueTheory.com. We are an independent media organization. We reached hundreds of millions of people over the last 11 years. And you know, when I started around 2010, I didn't know anything at all. Had zero skills, didn't know anything about the internet, marketing, social media, content. So English is not even my first language, and I'm heavily dyslexic. So basically I had to work extremely hard, trial and error, learn on the go, and you know, over the years I kind of started seeing patterns and noticing more and more which mistakes I'm making. So now I can give you at least a couple of interesting tools and ideas if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe you are already working online, startups, starting your own business, maybe you're in your first year, second year, whatever. This might be useful for you. You know, most of the things we're going to talk about probably going to apply ideally to startup environments, but I guess you can use it almost in any kind of business. All right, so the very first thing, most businesses fail. Sorry to disappoint some of you, but we are constantly hearing these stories about these great entrepreneurs like whatever, Steve Jobs or someone like that, or Elon Musk. But the media really always focuses on the glamour, and they put a lot less attention on 99.9% of other people who, you know, struggle, who failed, who ended up in debt, bankrupt, with some kind of family problems, mental breakdowns, etc. And this is reality. You know, if you are thinking of running a business, it's gonna be super challenging. I mean, super challenging is not the word. It depends obviously on what kind of business. You know, if you are talking about like running a kebab shop, maybe it's a little bit different. But if you're trying to, let's say, build a company online, it's gonna be extremely challenging. And all those success stories are just, they don't reflect the reality. Most businesses fail. There is something like 90% of companies actually fail, and the rest is just like really struggling, and very few are a massive success, you know? So first thing, think about if you wanna really get into something like that, because what it means is that, you know, if your lifestyle now is, let's say, going to parties over the weekends and celebrating birthday parties of your friends or family, or going on holidays or weekends off, or, you know, watching movies or playing video games in the evenings, and all these kind of things that normal people do, it's very unlikely you're gonna have time for anything like that. You know, you're gonna have to sacrifice maybe a couple of years of your life, and you're gonna have to put everything aside. You know, it's like a tunnel vision sometimes. At some stage later on, when things kind of flow, it might be okay for you to like take time off, maybe spend more time with family, friends, whatever. But very often in the first couple of years, you just work and don't do almost anything else. And it's not just work, it's like trying to push and be the best every single day. This is maybe not for everyone, you know. Some people just want to have a little bit more comfort, and that's fine, you know. So very basic thing, first thing to always think about if you want to really spend a couple of years of your life in this way, because, you know, some people might end up nowhere, and most people probably gonna end up nowhere. You might get a lot of experience from your failures, but overall you just might end up really tired, depressed, and really end up nowhere. So that's a very common thing that we are not hearing a lot about, and I've seen it happening all the time. So I had lots of challenges myself as well. So just small thing to keep in mind. It's good to try, but also think about if this is for you. Not everything is for everyone, right? So number 2 is running a business is all about creative problem solving. And I think this is really one of the key things about startups and running a business. And basically first thing is solving problems, right? And what happens is that really, let's say you go to university to study business or anything like that, management, and they won't really teach you a lot of how to solve problems in a creative way. So you might learn how to write essays, look for information online, learn some background about different companies or situations, whatever. But that's it. This is like super basic stuff which won't even be extremely useful if you want to build a company, let's say. So really the whole thing is about hustling every single day and trying to be creative in solving problems, right? Because basically everything is about solving problems. Who is better at solving these problems, having better ideas, being more creative? Those people become more and more successful, right? So let's say solving a problem could be something like, I have very little money, but I need to do something, that costs 10 times more normally, right? Let me give you an example of something I've done at the beginning. When I was starting with blogs and media, businesses, etc., I really needed content, right? I needed writers to create articles, to publish news or opinion pieces, but I didn't have any money. It was only me and my friend, and I was too slow to create content myself. Like I said, I'm dyslexic, English is not my first language, so I couldn't really create content myself. I needed content from elsewhere, but I didn't have money to pay for writers, right? So I started getting in partnerships with websites, republishing their content with permission, looking for independent writers who would write for free just to be featured on my website and maybe promote additionally some of their own websites or ebooks or whatever they had to promote. So I found a couple of different ways to get regular writers and content on my website without spending a penny on that, right? So this is an example of how you can solve a problem in a creative way. You need content, you need writers, but you don't have money for that, right? And really running a business is all about that. It's all about just constantly finding these clever ways to solve problems, Okay, so let me quickly give you another example of that, right? Let's say someone like, Tesla, Elon Musk, they wanted to start an electric car company, right? But to produce a car, you need billions of dollars, right? If you are not an established big business, you have just no chance, right? Because it's a massive process, right? So what they did, first model was I think Tesla Roadster, which was basically like this expensive car for some kind of biz, people who have more money, right? They didn't start with high volume cheap cars, right? Because to be able to produce on a mass scale at low cost, they needed already have a full operation going, right? But at the beginning they didn't have a lot of money, so they started with a low volume expensive car, and they tried all sorts of tricks as well. They're like body, I think that was initially from Lotus, whatever, but they found lots of different tricks and ideas to start with very little money and keep moving forward, right? So everything is really about that. It's all about just finding solutions to problems, being creative and solving problems, right? Okay, so number 3, it's speed and time management. So I've seen this quite a lot. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I'm just giving you some of the tips that I saw and I've learned. So, I actually dealt with loads of interesting people over the last, 10 years. I'm talking about like Hollywood executives, people who are on Forbes lists. I met a bunch of extremely wealthy people, talking about like super celebrities with tens of millions of followers, people like that. So one thing I've seen, especially when it gets to like extremely focused people, like talking about like top entrepreneurs, for example, that really for them everything is about time management and just doing as many tasks as possible per day. Obviously prioritizing the more important and all this kind of stuff, right? But it's almost like every day is like a marathon to finish as many important tasks as possible. Because if you think about it, you can spend 3 hours doing one thing, or you can spend half an hour, right? And move to the next one. So really about moving fast, executing fast, and accomplishing as much as you can in the shortest time possible. This is like one of the really key things that I've noticed about a lot of these people. So, if you remember, Facebook's initial motto was move fast, break things. This is the kind of approach I'm talking about. Because if you think about it, let's say if you're taking too long to decide on something, sometimes what happens is actually better to make a wrong decision. It's not really wrong, but not the top best decision, and execute rather than wait too long and think about, oh, maybe I should do it this way or that way. So why is that? Let me give you an example. Someone in my family, this person, she wanted to buy a property, right? And she was saving for many years for the down payment, or maybe even full price, somewhere very cheap. And she was like thinking about it for a very long time. Oh, what should I buy? Maybe have put money as a down payment in England and then keep repaying for many years, or maybe buy the whole property in Poland because it's much cheaper. And because she was taking forever to make a decision, and things would change, maybe she would get busy with work, so she didn't have time to keep looking for properties. She wasn't sure about what she should do. It kind of took almost a couple of years, and then what happened was that by that time, the property prices went up so much that even if she would actually buy the worst imaginable property at the beginning when she decided to do it, that property over those next few years would be worth a lot more. So even she could make a bad decision, let's say, but not take forever with this decision and then end up losing value, because her money lost value over this period when she was just taking forever to decide, right? So this is an example why sometimes it's really more important to make a decision quicker than just keep thinking forever about it, because later on maybe it's not such a bad decision overall. All right, so these are just a couple of different tips. This is part 1, and if you want to read more, we actually published a series of similar tips on our Patreon page. If you go to patreon.com/truththeory, you can access similar tips, different ones, but also other content I'm creating. And if you become a supporter there, you help us out in creating more content like this. And you can ask me some questions there. You can send me direct message and I'll do my best to answer it. So we kind of help each other out here. And let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I'm also doing one-to-one coaching if you're interested, so send me an email. Okay, so let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. And if you have any tips for aspiring entrepreneurs or lessons you want to share with us, or some of your own experiences, let us know in the comments below. If you're new here, please subscribe, share, like this video, and thanks for watching. Until next time.